This is actually a massive problem. Well, no, it's not a massive problem. It's a small problem that's turned into a big problem. And that is how saw palmetto, a particular herb that we see in various supplements, can actually shrink a man's penis. So for those of you who are brand new to my channel, my name is Lucas, the founder of Boost Your Biology. And if you do enjoy these videos, please like this video and hit subscribe to stay up to date with the latest and greatest health research. Saw palmetto, the herb that is notoriously used in prostate supportive formulas, well, for good reason. This herb is incredibly effective at improving prostate health, minimizing the chances of developing benign prostatic hyperplasia or BPH, and also potentially reducing the risk of prostate cancer. But there is a particular drawback and side effect that men need to really consider if they're going to be using saw palmetto. Now, you may remember that I've mentioned many different herbs that men should be avoiding, such as lion's mane. There are many different supplements that men should be avoiding for many reasons, whether it be increasing serotonin, affecting cortisol, affecting nutrient status, maybe affecting dopamine receptors. But in this video, what I'm going to do is talk about one particular herb, saw palmetto, that is advertised for prostate health, which, has a side effect that a lot of men actually are starting to notice. I mean, it's pretty impossible to not notice your penis actually looking smaller, particularly when it's in a flaccid state. You may have noticed that it's like shrunken back. A lot of guys have noticed this with lion's mane, but this is also possible with saw palmetto. So let's just do a quick little breakdown on flaccid size versus erect size. This study here was titled Penile Length and Circumference Dimensions, a large study in young Italian men. This study here was published in the Journal of Andrologia, and it was actually published in 2021, so a fairly recent study. There's a good reason why they did this study, in 2021. One of the reasons being that we're actually seeing a worldwide shrinkage effect on penile structure and also penile length. I personally think this is due to the global decline in testosterone levels. In addition to this, we're seeing a global increase in the amount of plastics, microplastics, and chemicals that are found in the environment. There are certain chemicals that have been shown to affect the reproductive function and also organ development in male rats when exposed to high amounts of particular xenoestrogens and microplastics. This study here was looking at the penile size in young Italian men. So each patient was given details on how to measure their penis, so erect length and circumference, in flaccid and also in erection or during an erection, from the lower base to the distal penile tip. So the mean or the average standard deviation flaccid penile length was 9.4 centimeters, and the mean standard deviation flaccid penis circumference was 9.59 centimeters. The mean erect penis length was 16.78 centimeters, and the mean erection penis circumference was 12.03 centimeters. So we can see this is just a general measurement amongst young Italian males, and they're looking at specific differences in flaccid size and also erect size. So looking at the circumference and also the length. Now, interestingly, what they noted was that height is proportional to the length of the penis in flaccidity and in erection, and to the circumference in erection. Now, the increase in BMI, which they noted in this study, an increase in BMI leads to a reduction in the length of the erect penis, as well as weight gain, reducing the length of the flaccid penis. So again, we're looking at body composition and how that can affect penile size. I will dedicate another video looking at specific breakdown on penile size, growth enhancement, things like that in another video. How can saw palmetto actually affect penile size? So this study here was titled Efficacy and Safety of Saw Palmetto Extract Capsules in the Treatment of Benign Prostatic Hyperplasia. This study was in Chinese, so I wasn't able to actually unlock the English version. But saw palmetto does have some very good historical use as far as improving prostate disorders or prostate abnormalities. And so if we look into the actual mechanism of action, which is what I'll dive into shortly, we can see that this is not going to be beneficial for young men, particularly between the ages of, let's say, 18 to like 35 or 40 years of age, that this can actually lead to a lot of these similar side effects that we see with medications just like finasteride, which I'm sure you've probably heard of post-finasteride syndrome, which is a hair loss medication that is notorious for affecting a man's quality of life. So we'll get into the specifics of saw palmetto shortly. Now, the reason why I look at saw palmetto as a dangerous herb for men and can actually cause penile shrinkage is because saw palmetto is basically like herbal finasteride. Finasteride is a very popular medication that can be used orally and also topically to assist and slow down the rate of hair loss. And we can see this study here was titled Post-Finasteride Syndrome, an emerging clinical problem. What they're basically referring to are many of these side effects that men face when they go on this particular hair loss drug. A lot of men experience erectile issues, they experience a loss of libido, they can experience depression, they can experience lack of confidence, they can experience other weird neurological disorders, which is associated with finasteride usage. I don't think saw palmetto would induce the exact same effect as finasteride, although I do think it may lead to some of the similar side effects that we see with finasteride. When it comes to penile length, this particular study here gives us a great understanding on what can influence penile development and architecture and overall length. So we can see here this study was titled Topical DHT or dihydrotestosterone, which is the more potent form of testosterone to treat micropenis secondary to partial androgen insensitivity syndrome before, during, and after puberty, a case series. So there are some studies indicating that DHT does play a crucial role in the development of penile structure and also penile development. And so whether or not this is actually applicable post-puberty is questionable, whether or not that can actually restore the damage that men have induced from hair loss drugs like finasteride or potentially even saw palmetto. That remains questionable, although it does appear quite promising that DHT, topical DHT cream may be able to support penile structure and architecture. So this study here was titled Evaluation of Resetin, which is a raw material consisting of a particular lipid extract of the saw palmetto berry on serum hormonal levels in sedentary males. And what they noted here was that after 14 days, participants receiving 1200 milligrams per day of this particular saw palmetto had significantly reduced baseline subtracted serum DHT and estrogen or E2 levels in comparison to the placebo control group. Moreover, participants receiving 1200 milligrams of this saw palmetto experienced a 38% increase in serum testosterone level in comparison to the placebo group, but the effect did not reach statistical significance. What they're demonstrating here is that a particular herbal extract that works very similarly to finasteride, which inhibits the conversion of testosterone into DHT by blocking the 5-alpha reductase enzyme, will lead to an increase in testosterone levels because we're blocking that conversion. But the question is, at what cost? You know, this is a problem that a lot of men don't really understand, is that if we're directly blocking the conversion of testosterone into the most powerful, or the strongest form of androgen in the human body, DHT, what are some of the repercussions of doing this? We need to really ask ourselves this particular question. Do we want to be lowering DHT? And what are the potential drawbacks and side effects of doing so? The body obviously wants to convert testosterone into that particular hormone. And if we're specifically blocking it with drugs like finasteride and also herbs like saw palmetto, at what cost? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. So that pretty much wraps up this video. If you do want to learn more about other herbs that men should be avoiding and also how to actually build out the most epic androgenic stacks and nootropic stacks, and you want to learn more about my particular protocols and what I've used for other guys, do consider joining the Limitless program that's linked down below in the video description. Book a call to find out if you're a good fit for the group coaching program. There will be 2 live weekly group coaching calls, which you can literally jump in on, tune in, ask your questions to me directly. It's very difficult now. I'm getting a lot of YouTube comments down below, which I just don't have time to keep up for. So within the Limitless program, you will be part of my inner circle where you'll get VIP treatment. Do consider joining the Limitless program. And if you enjoyed this video, please like the video. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Otherwise, guys, thanks for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.